So the movie opens in old New York City, where the news of the Declaration of Independence has just arrived. It begins when our hero, Pacino's character, Tom Dobb, rows into the city on a boat, revealing that he is a fur trader. After Tom Dobb, again Pacino's character, arrives in the city, a patriot mob, which includes Daisy McConaughey, daughter of very prototypical wealthy snobs, the mob commandeers Tom's boat. Since Tom and his young son Ned are now without money, young Ned enlists in the Continental Army for a bounty of 5 shillings and the promise of a post-war land grant. Pacino, to protect his son, then, after yelling angrily some, reluctantly joins the American army as well to protect his son from dying for a cause that he clearly wants nothing to do with. And he makes this very clear that he does not really care that much about the cause itself. So after this encounter ends, the Battle of Long Island happens, and beautiful Daisy somehow finds very sweaty Tom lying in a field, then lays on top of him and waxes eloquent about his bravery. So, therefore, somehow a romance has been formed between them. It's rather unexplained, but that's how it happens in the film. So after the Battle of Long Island, another less explained battle happens, and enter another character played by Donald Sutherland, Sergeant Major Peasley. Very deep voice, unkind British officer fellow. Now he leads these group of British soldiers into battle, utterly butchering the British Army's manual of arms, but we'll talk about that later. And the mullet-clad rebels are quickly repulsed by the clearly more experienced British. Now this gives Tom and Ned a chance to escape back to New York City to get out of the army and, again, get out of this fight that Tom makes it very clear he wants nothing to do with. They then take up a job in New York City working in a rope factory. Meanwhile, Daisy's family prepares to host British officers by puffing enormous amounts of powder and makeup everywhere, and then the even more unrealistically powdered and made-up British officers pretentiously come into their house and act all idiotic and weird until Daisy stabs one of them in the testicles with a small American flag, then runs away. Tom has an argument with Ned, now part of a patriot gang. This is after they arrive and work in New York City for a little while. And he urges his son to stay out of the larger revolutionary conflict. It's not worth it. It's not safe. Just protect yourself. Tom doesn't like this. And so that develops some strain between the two of them. Shortly after this conversation, some more evil Brits walk around the rope factory, abusing patriots, and force Tom, after observing his particularly swollen muscles, to pull an effigy around for them to chase like a fox on horses. So after the effigy fox hunt plays out, Sergeant Major Peasy finds Ned and a young friend of his, then proceeds to press them into His Majesty's service as a drummer. When Ned tries to resist Sergeant Peasy's authority, Peasy then straps the young lad to a cannon and shreds the flesh off of his feet with a rope, demonstrating his apparently very extreme cruelty. Tom rescues Ned, however, shortly after this occurs, and suddenly Tom is inspired to join the great struggle at this moment. He befriends some sort of prototypically spaghetti western-looking Native American folks who then heal Ned. Several months pass, and the next few scenes take place at Valley Forge, where Tom and Ned are working as what they call scouts. Daisy now works with her apparently happily enslaved person as a supplier for the Americans. She comes into Valley Forge and finds Tom and pledges her undying love for him then and there. Then, as she rides into the distance, she is suddenly attacked by the Brits on horses, and Tom hollers and runs after her, and she's apparently captured, and it's not clear whether she's dead or alive. So eventually, news of the French alliance arrives, the British leave Philadelphia, and Tom and Ned go on a search for Daisy. They fail to find her even among the records in that city. The film then fasts forward to Yorktown with its massively rocky cliffs, which the real Yorktown does not really have, by the way. And there they find evil Sergeant Major Peasy, and they bloodily murder his friends in a very brutal action scene, but then mercifully leave him alone to maybe die or maybe not. It's not entirely clear. Then the film ends with Ned getting married and moving west. Tom eventually finds Daisy. The very final scene is a interesting, very prototypical sort of Al Pacino dialogue, and, well, it's best if I just let you listen to it here.
We're gonna find us a place where there ain't no one to bow down to, where there ain't no lord or lady better than you, where you can say what you like and climb as high as you want, and there ain't nobody gonna treat no one like a dog in the dirt. I look around me, Ned, and I see all kinds of people, men and women. They got families like mine. And we stand together like brothers and sisters. And we make for ourselves. We make a place where our babies can sleep safe through the night.
So the end. There's a brief synopsis. Hopefully that can give you some context for understanding the importance of this film.